Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream Sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to MyPillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. MyPillow.com. Promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. President Donald Trump said that Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats are holding the entire federal government hostage during the shutdown, vowing we will not be extorted on this crazy plot of theirs. The Turning Point USA faith organization is reporting explosive growth after the assassination of founder Charlie Kirk. We have the story on that. Meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal reported that the sale of Bibles soared in September after the fatal shooting as well. A case of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, has been reported in western North Carolina. A man says he was shot at by an angry motorist who tore down a Trump banner in his mother's front yard. Has it really come to this? We have that story for you in today's show, too. And Congressman Ralph Norman joins us to talk about the government shutdown and the latest in the Israel and Hamas ceasefire.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
So President Donald Trump came out swinging yesterday, this time with both barrels aimed squarely at Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and his Democrat colleagues, accusing them of holding the entire federal government hostage.
I just say from the beginning, our message has been very simple. We will not be extorted on this crazy plot of theirs. They've never done this before. Nobody has. You always vote for an extension. Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats need to vote for the clean, bipartisan CR and reopen our government. It's got to be reopened right now. We're not doing that. They are the obstructionists. And the reason they're doing it is because we're doing so well. We're doing well all over the world. We're doing well with the close to $20 trillion that I just told you about. It will be that number, but even if you take it down to over 17, that's a guarantee. We're doing well with everything.
So here we are, 22 days into this government shutdown, 3 weeks counting, and the standoff shows no signs of easing whatsoever. A little bit later in today's show, we're going to be talking with Congressman Ralph Norman and get his take on this as well. President Trump made his remarks during a working lunch at the White House Rose Garden, and let's just say this wasn't your typical Washington press statement. This was vintage Donald Trump, taking his message straight to the American people. He said, and let me read the quote, Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats need to vote for the clean bipartisan CR and reopen our government. It's got to be reopened right now. Now, for those of you keeping score at home, that CR, or continuing resolution, is what Congress passes to keep the government funding while they iron out the details of a full-year budget, which they very rarely do. But instead of working with Republicans to get it done, President Trump says that Mr. Schumer and his Democrat Party are playing politics. Well, of course they are. Trying to extract concessions on spending and policy in exchange for letting federal workers not get paid. The president didn't mince words, saying they are obstructionists. And the reason they're doing it is because we're doing so well. We're doing well all over the world, he said. You could feel Trump's frustration. And frankly, his confidence as well, though. He's looking at the bigger picture. An economy is still growing, markets recovering after last year's dip, energy prices easing, peace breaking out in the Middle East. Hopefully that'll hold. And here we are. Washington Democrats shutting down the government because they can't stand to see Trump succeed. That's what it is. It's political theater. Then he turned his fire directly on Schumer. Chuck Schumer, who I've known for a long time, and the radical left Democrats are holding the entire federal government hostage to appease the extremists in their party. And that, of course, is exactly what Chuck Schumer's doing. Because Chuck Schumer is looking at 2026. He's looking at the midterm elections. He's concerned that one of his own party is going to challenge him. And there's nothing that Chuck Schumer loves more than his own Senate seat, the power that it gives him. That's why Trump quipped that Schumer's in deep trouble, losing in all the polls. And then came the classic Trump zinger, and one that had reporters buzzing. He said he's even losing to AOC +3. Now, of course, he's talking about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her progressive allies. President Trump using humor, as he often does, to make a serious point. Chuck Schumer's leadership is being eaten alive by his own party's left flank, and he doesn't know what to do. For weeks, Republicans have been urging Democrats to pass a clean funding bill, something that they've done over and over again, meaning no political riders, no pork, no unrelated spending gimmicks, just a straightforward way to keep the government open while they hash out some of these other things. But Schumer's team keeps saying no unless they get health care subsidies and new social spending programs included. I mean, this is their typical tactics. This is how they do things. Now, President Trump added a little color to his Rose Garden remarks, comparing his budget director, Russell Voigt, to a certain Star Wars villain. He said, "You know Darth Vader, right? They call him Darth Vader. I call him a fine man, but he's cutting Democrat priorities, and they're never going to get them back." Now, you know, the Trump administration is busy at work identifying programs and positions that they can eliminate during this shutdown. And he's right, the Democrats will never get them back. And you would think that they would recognize that, and they'd want to get the government open back up to keep Trump from continuing to do this. Now, that line that he was Darth Vader kind of drew some chuckles in the crowd. Voigt has been spearheading an effort to trim back bloated federal programs, many of which have been sacred cows for decades. Couldn't touch them. These are programs that funnel taxpayer dollars into activist causes, blue state subsidies, bureaucratic waste. And President Trump has been wanting to get at them. He's been wanting to cut them, and now's a chance. He's saying no more. Then the president brought back the bigger picture. He said, "Today I'm calling on every Senate Democrat to stop the madness, to let our country get back." He pointed out that this shutdown isn't happening during a crisis. It's happening during one of America's strongest periods in modern history. And he's right. The economy's humming. Again, foreign leaders are finally taking America serious again after 4 years of Joe Biden. We're not at war. Inflation's cooling. The border wall is going up, and people coming in across the southern border is non-existent. They're just not trying it anymore. And we have record numbers of people being deported. Yet the Democrats shut it all down for politics. President Trump's message to them was very clear. Be smart. It's not working. They're getting killed in the polls. The public understands what they're doing. They're doing the wrong thing, he said. And here's the kicker. Trump tried altogether with one eye on the 2026 midterms. He said Republicans have to win the midterms, and we do. And then, in classic Trump fashion, he says otherwise we're going to end up with a communist mayor in New York, and that's a possibility as well. That's a swipe, of course, at Zohran Mamdani, the Democrat socialist candidate running for New York City mayor, who's been making headlines lately for saying he'd enforce the International Criminal Court's warrant against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. By the way, there's a lot of pressure being put on Curtis Lewa to drop out of the race. Curtis is the Republican candidate, and some believe that he needs to step aside so Andrew Cuomo can beat this socialist. I don't know that Curtis Lewa is going to drop out, though. He's been pretty adamant that he's in the race to stay in the race and believes he can win. So here's the bottom line. President Trump, and it appears the Republicans aren't going to budge. Now, I'm a little concerned still about some of the Senate Republican members and whether they really will stand strong. We'll see. The president's drawing a line in the sand. No ransom, no backroom deals, no bowing to the radical wing of the Democrat Party. He's betting that the American people see through this game, and I hope they do. What do you think? Do you believe that the American people understand what's really happening here, and they're blaming the Democrats? Some of the polls suggest that they're equally blaming the Republicans too, and that could hurt us next year. What do you think? Send me a quick text, email me, joe@joeyhudson.com. Leave me a message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY. Always use promo code Joey when you go to mypillow.com, and take advantage of the MyPillow 6-piece towel set for only $39.98 when you use promo code Joey. Let's be honest, those summer vacations and backyard barbecues added some extra pounds, right? But instead of feeling guilty or falling further behind, it's time to reset, drop the weight, and get back in control. The solution isn't a shot. Real lasting weight loss starts with your mind, not your mouth. At PhD Weight Loss, Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team help you uncover the real reasons behind your weight gain so that you can reprogram the way you think about food forever. PhD clients lose up to a third of their body weight without ever taking a drug. I know because I lost 33 pounds with PhD weight loss. Through real food, behavioral coaching, and proven science, your body can become a natural fat-burning machine. Why risk spending thousands on shots that strip away muscle, come with dangerous side effects, and leave most people regaining 60% of the weight within a year? With PhD, you'll activate your body's natural appetite control, burn fat safely, and stay in control. Even if you're already on Ozempic, PhD can help you transition off while still losing weight. Take the first step today. Call 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com. On the text line, texter says Indian justice is okay in a case as Hunter Biden when the statute of limitations runs out or daddy pardons you. But when you have an indictment shirking our responsibility as citizens to uphold the law and seek justice is just plain wrong and not just being good and responsible citizens. Thanks for all you do. I enjoy your show. Have a great day. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate you listening. Faye writes, good morning, Joey. Please be safe in Israel. We plan to be. We look forward to hearing your broadcast and you keeping us informed. Can you take a handful of these old hippies from the Sat Straw and leave them in an airport somewhere? I have at least one in my family I can supply. Be safe, our friend. Thank you, Faye. Appreciate that. Texter, hey, Joey, it's Jennifer. So Pamela Evatt is not MAGA enough? ? Did I hear that right? I don't get it. Well, there's a certain group that claims that they're the real Republicans, the real MAGA Republicans, and that Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evatt is not. You have to consider the source in these situations. All right, so listen up. I want to tell you a story out of North Carolina that really brings home how heated things have gotten in this country. A case of TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, has been identified in western North Carolina. Here's the story. Let's go back to September the 6th. It was a quiet day in the Nantahala Gorge, that beautiful area up there in the Nantahala River. I've been whitewater rafting there many times. It's a beautiful part of the state, river out back, small town life. Mark Thomas runs a river rafting business. He's at home. His 87-year-old mother lives there with him. They've got a Trump banner attached to an old bus out on the property, a simple political sign, nothing fancy, just a sign expressing their support of President Donald Trump. Now, here's where it takes a turn. Thomas checks his security cameras later and sees a man in what witnesses describe as an Antifa-style mask step out of a Jeep Cherokee. The man walks up, he rips the banner off of the bus, gets back in his car, and drives off. Now, that's when Thomas, a believer in the Second Amendment, grabs his rifle, goes out on the porch, and fires a couple of warning shots into the air. Now, you'd think that'd be the end of it, right? That would be it, but it wasn't. The man, later identified by police as 38-year-old Benjamin Michael Campbell, an Atlanta accountant, by the way, comes back. And according to Thomas, Campbell opens fire through his sunroof. Thomas says the shooter returned and fired several more shots. One bullet hit a refrigerator inside of his home. This is just simply incredible. Over a political sign, folks. This guy hates Donald Trump so much that he's literally firing shots at a person that had this sign in their own private yard. Police later arrested this Campbell guy. He's been charged with a host of serious offenses: felony assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill or inflict serious injury, discharging a firearm in an enclosure to incite fear, and wanton injury to personal property. That's tearing down the sign. He's been extradited to North Carolina and is facing the legal consequences, as he should. He should lose his business. Should lose his license to be able to practice as an accountant. So here's the part that gets me, though. Thomas said he almost didn't call the police after that first round of shots. He tells himself, he said, maybe it's a kid who will grow out of this. He expected some 20-year-old punk. Instead, the guy's a 38-year-old professional, an accountant, who knows better. Masked up and allegedly ready to pull the trigger over a Trump banner. Thomas told reporters he had no intentions of hurting the man, that he just fired some warning shots. He said only to keep his mother and property safe. He also said he thought the shooter was a poor shot, and that poor aim might be what saved his life. Thank goodness for that. Now, of course, this came, remember I said this took place September the 6th, just a few days before the nation was shocked with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Mr. Thomas says that moment really woke people up. He said it's like a line in the sand for a lot of Americans. The political rancor has moved from words to dangerous, violent acts, and yes, it has. Thomas also reflected on how far the divide has come. He pointed fingers at certain Democrat officials who he says have encouraged hostile rhetoric. And that, in turn, fans the flames to these idiots like this guy, this accountant from Atlanta, who comes up into western North Carolina, tears down a Trump sign, and shoots at the guy. Now, whether you agree with him or not, the point is this. Political disagreement in America is getting close, perilously close to violence. And that should scare every one of us. I mean, I have a Trump sign at the end of my driveway. Should I take it down? To me, that's kind of giving in, isn't it? But at the same time, I don't want to jeopardize the safety, my own and Peg's and Jesse and Simon's. I mean, you know, have we come to that to where we can't have political signs in our yard? Now, let's look at this a little bit deeper here, though. Let's look at the victim, Mark Thomas. He's not out to martyr anyone. He said he hoped one day to talk to Campbell, to understand what was going on in his head. He even joked, maybe half seriously, I don't know, about putting $10 on the shooter's jail account so they could talk. I mean, after bullets fly, his first instinct isn't a revenge. It's to ask why. Why do you have this type of hatred towards our president? Second, think about the victim's mother, 87 years old. That's the same age as my mother, Nana Hudson. Imagine the terror of having shots ring out near your home, the long-term emotional damage. That's real. I mean, we don't cover that enough. But you got to think about that. So what should we take away from this story? Maybe political symbols, flags, banners, yard signs, or symbols. They're not invitations for violence. You agree with that? I mean, take it down respectfully. Call the owner, ask, don't reach for a weapon. Or just keep driving. Mind your own business. That would be my recommendation. He also says, that escalation is real. 2 warning shots became a dozen shots fired through a sunroof. That escalation can turn a small dispute into a life or death scenario in seconds. So maybe he shouldn't have fired those warning shots to begin with. It's like he incited this guy to violence. There's no excuses for this guy coming back and shooting from his sunroof, but still, maybe Mr. Thomas should not have fired those initial shots. And then there's room for the conversation. Mr. Thomas shows that asking to sit down with the accused to figure out what motivates that kind of rage. If we want a safer country, maybe we start there. Maybe we need to talk to people like him to see if we can figure them out. I don't know. We may never figure them out. I mean, really, if somebody is so deranged that they come back and they tear down a sign in someone else's yard and they fire shots at you, I don't know that talking's going to do any good. I mean, we're talking about neighbors, workers, parents, accountants, small business owners, Political division isn't abstract. It plays out in front yards and on porches, and it can explode in a heartbeat, and it can go south in a heartbeat. That's what we have to continue to remember, is how quickly things can get out of hand. Again, I'd love to get your comments. Do you think that we just need to take our political signs down? Or do you agree with me that we should be able to keep signs up anytime we want to? We should be able to express our pride in our president. Just because we're not in a political campaign, we can show our support of Trump, and that's why we have left our sign at the end of our driveway, because we want people to know that we're proud of our president. Am I wrong? Leave me a message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Always use promo code Joey when you go to MyPillow.com and take advantage of Mike Lindell's special on the 6-piece towel set. You're going to love these towels. They're soft and they're absorbent. Quite often you don't get that combination. And only because of Mike Lindell's proprietary technology, it makes these extremely absorbent, yet they also feel soft like towels should. 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, 2 washcloths, regularly $69.98. When you use promo code Joey, you're going to get them for $39.98. That's MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4059. Have your credit card ready. As you know, yesterday was Election Day for South Carolina House District 21 and South Carolina Senate District 12, 2 special elections as a result of Spartanburg County Senator Roger Nutt resigning because of health issues. That initiated a series of events there. Representative Bobby Cox, who was the rep for District 21, which is partially Greenville and Spartanburg counties, resigned his House seat to run for the Senate seat. But eventually, Representative Cox withdrew his name from that Senate race, which left Lee Bright, a former state senator, Hope Blackley, and Justin Bradley. It appears, and this is unofficial results, they'll have to be certified, and according to reports I've seen, Ms. Blackley has not conceded the race yet, but it appears Lee Bright is headed to winning that on the first ballot without a runoff, with unofficially 50.9% for Mr. Bright, Hope Blackley 27.2%, and Justin Bradley with 21.9%. Over in the House race, Steve Nail and Diane Mitchell appear to be headed to a runoff. Mr. Nail received 39% and Diane Mitchell 37%. Reggie Batson followed up with 20.5% and young Jack Stott with 3.6%. So that is the unofficial results, and those will be certified on Thursday. It's been a month now since the assassination of Turning Point USA co-founder Charlie Kirk. And while his loss has literally left a hole in the conservative movement, and particularly among the youth, something extraordinary is happening. Out of this tragedy has come a revival. The faith arm of Turning Point USA, known as TPUSA Faith, has seen one of the biggest surges in its history. Get this, nearly doubling its church network in just a matter of weeks. And folks, if that doesn't sound like a spiritual movement sweeping across this country, I don't know what does. And how encouraging is this? So here are some of the numbers, and they're quite stunning. TPUSA spokesman Andrew Colvett told Fox News that their church network has grown from 4,000 to 8,000 churches nationwide. They have doubled their church network. And beyond that, more than 200,000 new Christians have become involved with TPUSA Faith. Across social media, listen to this. The organization has seen over 1,000% growth in followers, in views, and engagement since Charlie's death. Now, that's not normal growth. That's not a marketing campaign. That's simply revival, folks. That is a revival, a nationwide revival among Christians. Colvett went on the story with Trace Gallagher and described what's happening this way. And I'll quote, "What we're doing in the faith space has more than doubled, and it's a testament to the legacy that Charlie Kirk has left. There's just so much more good than there is bad, and it's important for us to remind everybody about that. And that is a good message. That's powerful, because at a time when it would have been easy for Turning Point to retreat, to slow down, to mourn, and to point fingers, instead, what we're seeing is an outpouring of faith, of unity, and renewal, something this country needed. And I think that says something profound about Charlie's life as well, his message and the movement that he helped build. Now, many of you have followed Charlie Kirk for years. You've seen him on college campuses, at conservative conferences, on podcasts, Sunday mornings sharing his message of faith and freedom. What made him different from so many other activists, even on the right, is that he never separated politics from purpose. He saw faith not as something private or political, but as the foundation of liberty itself. That's what TPUSA Faith was built on. Their mission statement says it all. And I'm reading. TPUSA Faith is dedicated to empowering Christians to put their faith into action. We engage, equip, and empower millions of grateful Americans who are prepared to defend our God-given rights by giving them the tools to expose lies and articulate the connection between faith and freedom. That's the heartbeat of this movement, folks. Faith first, freedom always. Colvett described the response over the last month as revival-like. He said his inbox has been overflowing, emails, testimonies, stories pouring in from pastors and families across the country saying that Charlie's message has reignited their walk with God. Let that sink in for a second. Here's what he said. You see it in the social media comments. People are saying, Charlie re-inspired my faith. I'm going back to church. I'm praying for my husband. Our marriage has been saved because of the legacy and just the way Charlie lived his life. How many times do you hear about a political figure, not a pastor, not a preacher, but a political figure whose death leads to hundreds of thousands of people returning to church, going back to God's house? Again, that's not a political movement. That's a church revival. Colvett also talked about something that kind of struck me, the way Charlie seamlessly integrated faith into everything he did, and he did. If you go back, and let me challenge you to watch some of Charlie Kirk's YouTube videos, and I challenge you to find one where he doesn't mention his faith. Colvett said Charlie would get a question, regardless of the topic, and he'd find a way to integrate his faith into that answer. It was seamless, and he did. Charlie made it look seamless, so easy. I remember seeing those viral videos of Charlie on college campuses. Students would ask him about socialism or abortion or the Constitution, and somehow he'd always bring it back to the Creator who gave us our rights in the first place. And that's what made Charlie so special, and that's what makes Turning Point USA so special. And in today's climate, when so many young people are searching for something real, that message is hitting home. Now, after Charlie's passing, those old clips are being rediscovered by millions of people of all ages. People are watching them again, not as political arguments, but as spiritual lessons. They're hearing his heart. They're realizing that all the noise in our politics, that faith is still the anchor regardless. And that's the beauty of what's happening now, folks. Turning Point USA Faith isn't just growing in numbers, it's having a big impact. It's affecting people's lives. Yes, a lot of young people's lives, but older people as well. They're offering prayer groups, monthly devotionals, online Bible studies, and faith-based leadership courses for pastors and lay people alike. They're building bridges between congregations that had drifted apart during COVID or gotten discouraged by cultural battles. And through it all, they're continuing Charlie's mission to remind Christians that our faith isn't supposed to stay in the pew, but it's supposed to shape the public square. You know that verse that comes to mind when I think about all this? John 12:24, where Jesus says, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. Charlie's death was tragic. It was heartbreaking. It was senseless. But somehow, through God's grace, it's produced a harvest of faith, of courage, of commitment, spreading across this country. And I believe that we're just seeing the beginning of this. Colvett said it best. People hear about the way Charlie lived his life, how he loved his wife, Eric, and his kids, and they realize there's true wisdom here and a purpose for them. And isn't that what we all want? To know that our lives meant something? That we left behind a legacy that points others towards truth, towards hope, towards God? And that's what Charlie did for all of us. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. Joining me on our guest line from South Carolina's 5th District, Congressman Ralph Norman. Welcome. How are you, sir?
Doing fine, Joey. Glad to be with you.
Always a pleasure. So many things to talk about, so let's just jump right in here. Let's start with the continued government shutdown. Of course, it shut down October the 1st. According to Senate Republicans, the standoff has become a hostage-taking exercise by Democrats. Now, Congressman, from your perspective, how did we get to this point, and is there any role that the House GOP can play now to jumpstart the process?
Well, first of all, this is a hostage taking by the entire Democrat Party led by Chuck Schumer. He's looking after his political career because he's scared of a primary challenge from AOC, who is in the House right now with serving with us. That being said, they're asking $1.5 trillion to basically fund illegals to get Medicare payments. And it's money we don't have. It's money that would be borrowed and add to the $38 trillion. That's a ticking time bomb for this country. And it's very simple. The Republicans passed the continuing resolution, which is just a funding measure through the end of November 21st, and to give us time to pass our appropriation bills. So unless they come forward with that, it's not going to happen. We're out this week. We'll have a call with Speaker Johnson at 11:30 today to update us. But two dates for you listeners to I guess be aware of: October 24th. In 3 days, you'll have 3 million federal employees affected by no check. On October 31st, you'll have 1.3 million active military. Of that 3 million who will not get their second paycheck. So, it's going to put a lot of people in a bind. It's going to put those who have house payments and those who, depend on the government. They're not going to have it. And so, but it's very simple. The Democrats have got to sign on to something that 13 times under Joe Biden they signed off on a continuing resolution. And because of their hatred of Donald Trump, who is doing a fantastic job, not just in America, but all over the world with his peace efforts, they hate him so much they're willing to put the country through this. That's the long and short of it.
Wow, and you're so right. That their hatred of Donald Trump is causing them to cause pain to a lot of Americans across the country right now. Now, Congressman, and with me today, Congressman Ralph Norman, you mentioned a minute ago that this impasse is pretty much because of the Democrats wanting the extension of the Affordable Care Act. Senate Democrats have blocked Republican attempts to reopen a number of times now. Over this past weekend, though, I saw a statement from GOP Senator Katie Britt that seemed to suggest she is open to maybe considering some of the demands that Democrats are wanting. Is there starting to be a crack in the armor on the GOP side over there? I mean, do you think they'll stand firm?
I never guess what the Senate's going to do. I can tell you from the House side, we're firm, we're together, and we've done our job. I mean, we've passed the continuing resolution, which I don't like temporary measures. I mean, it's not the best way to govern, but we've got so many other positive things that are going in our favor, like the $1.5 trillion cuts in government that we got through reconciliation, that the Democrats want to politicize and use that as a bargaining tool. And they misjudged on a couple of fronts. One of them, you don't play this game with Donald Trump. As he told Zelensky in their meeting previously, they don't have the cards. The Democrats do not have the cards here. And so the Senate may fold. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the House isn't going to fold. And they'll put the 11th vote up today at 3 o'clock to, again, show where the votes are. And to invoke cloture, we just don't have the 60 votes. The Senate hadn't been able to get the 60 votes needed, again, to get this CR passed and back working.
Yeah. Congressman Norman, let's shift gears here a bit. Let's talk about Israel. Is it concerning that Hamas violated the ceasefire this past weekend, less than a week into the agreement? Is this normal? What are your thoughts, and does this peace agreement hold long term, you think?
Time will tell, but, as we all have seen over, 40 years, the Middle East is a powder keg.
Yep.
And from what I understand, in Gaza, there were 2 Israelis killed. And President Trump has taken the right course. Hamas is going to pay a price if they continue to violate the terms of the peace agreement. And if they continue to do that, they'll have a heavy price to pay, and he's willing to do it. Israel is willing to do it, to hold them accountable. So we'll see. It's a tough sledding for the president, but I just admire him for what he's doing. He's closer than we've ever been, and I think at the end of the day, he'll get the job done one way or another. Yep. And he's laid that marker out pretty clear.
He was pretty clear when he said to Hamas, "Be good or be eradicated." I mean, that's pretty clear to me. You're either going to uphold your end of the bargain, or something bad's going to happen to you.
Yeah, and it's not empty rhetoric. When Joe Biden spoke during his 4 years, and really Obama during his 8 years, it was empty rhetoric. They didn't back it up. They drew lines in the sand, and they kept moving the line. Yeah. With this president, you don't do that, and it's not going to happen here. So he'll take swift action, and Israel is our ally, our only democratic ally in the Middle East. And we're sticking with them, which, again, this president's doing the right thing.
Yeah. By the way, Congressman, Mike Gallagher and I are headed to Israel next week. We'll be broadcasting from there, just kind of following up on some interviews that we did just over right at 2 years ago when we went over after the attack and interviewed folks in the Hostage Square and in Jerusalem. So we're headed back next week. I'm going to keep you on speed dial in case I need some help.
Well, we'd love for you to call me, and you'll see a country that is torn up with war, yes, but those people are united. Those people fight.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad America's on the side now.
Yep. Congressman Ralph Norman, it's always a pleasure. Appreciate what you do for us, and we'll talk again real soon.
Thank you, Joey. Appreciate it.
Sure thing. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com. And I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.